Y'all give me just a second to finish dropping this link and then we'll jump into the charts. Alright, I'm gonna leave the music running for a second while I'm waiting on a couple more people to drop these other stickers real quick, but I'm gonna jump over here. 2 seconds. Alright, there we go. I accidentally dropped my mic off when I swapped it, but I accidentally also almost messed up and showed y'all something that I'm working on that I wasn't ready for y'all to see yet, so. Alright, so background music on or off, you'll tell me. I'm looking in the lounge, I'm looking in the chat over here. You want me to leave it in the background while I run through it? I will. You want me to turn it off because you can't focus and you can't multitask? Tell me. Amber said, look at all the crypto. Like trying to go between support and resistance and choppy parts of a session. That's what Sukiyo does. I'm just gonna jump over here. See if the music can help properly confuse you. Start with Bitcoin.
Things have been weird.
I'm gonna turn off music. I think a couple of people are getting distracted. Alright, there you go. So, I'm going to start on Bitcoin, which this is not my right Bitcoin chart. What is this crap? Hold on. That's better. Okay. Yes, I will put those on the list of tickers to go through. SoFi, Ribbon, Wolf, I got you, Harrison. But Bitcoin, what's going on with Bitcoin, right? Let me turn off this because this could be in the way. Alright, so Bitcoin, yeah, huge sell off and pullback, right? But I'm not worried. And yes, I love my crypto, but that being said, look at this. We never got our full healthy retracement after we broke out of this cup and handle on the previous run, right? So what do you see now on the monthly here? We see a push to all-time highs multiple times, as well as a perfect retracement right here back to this support and demand zone, right? That strong push. This right here is beautiful. So what I'm looking for here, we completed the measured move I had to the downside, which was a daily and weekly measured move that I had marked. So notice how it's attempting to actually bounce and move above that on the daily and weekly. So I want to see what this reversal does. One other thing you will note here on the monthly, price action trending down, right? Check out the volume profile. So we're early on in the month, so that makes sense, but it's not like we're ramping up with strong, significant selling pressure month over month as we're trending down. So that's showing me that sellers are showing signs of exhaustion. So you can see here on the weekly that we had some strong volume still, but what you're not seeing here at the pure weekly is how this is built up of buyers and sellers, right? So you see red and you assume big red, but look at this. Almost equal amount of buyer volume going on with this huge candle from today to offset it. So that's why it's important to look in and drill in a bit instead of just looking purely at higher level like this. Understand what's going on deep within. So yeah, strong buyer reaction going on here. Multiple bullish catalysts going on. I know people have been worried about the cycles and everything like that. I did a detailed write-up that I put in the Crypto Lounge earlier this week, kind of explaining the differences between this cycle compared to previous crypto cycles, and I've been in for multiple. So that being said, I think that there's been a lot more mass adoption. There's been lots more institutional involvement with crypto. This is going to behave and move much more differently than what people have previously used to in other cycles. So Bitcoin right now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a stronger retracement bounce here to see if we can hold it. Ideally, what we also want to see is a breakout of this downtrend. So I'm going to go ahead and just so we have it here. And I'm working as conservative as possible. Way up here. I mean, if I really wanted to do this a bit less conservative, we'll do it that way so y'all can see it. But you can see the trend is basically here, right? So I'm looking on the 4 hour, which I drilled in because we had such big candles on the daily. But you've got a low, a high, a low, a high, a low. So ideally we need to overtake this right here. We need to get back above that 75 to 78 range. We can do it. I want to see if we push and sustain a push and consolidate here, or if this is a retracement bounce and we move lower. Like I said, over here we've got so much support in this range from the historicals. Previous resistance tends to turn into support, so supply zones becoming demand zones basically is what we have going on. So all that being said, we've already played out the measured move I had marked here. Technically you could be less conservative than I am. Do this, which would put us at a correction movement down into that 52-ish K range. So I'll leave that there so we can monitor it. But that head and shoulders pattern, technically, that is the full measured move, like tippity top to very bottom, which y'all know I like to be more conservative with my measurements. But either way, even if we pull back and drop into there, you're talking about being in the same demand zone yet again, which has been strong support. So we'll see what happens there. Let me jump over to Ethereum. The ETH, similar story going on here, which change this up because now we've got a bit different pattern in play. But what do you have on ETH? You have a series of monthly, so you can see this better, so you're not confused, of highs, higher lows, right? So right now we haven't broke the previous low to form a lower low. So technically this trend right here is still fully intact. Even if we breach this trend line, what you would want to see is whether or not we break and breach that low. So here I'm gonna go ahead and mark that as such with like a red line or something so that we can monitor it. But that's what you want to look for on Ethereum here, is to see if we end up breaking and forming a new lower low from that setup. But even then, you've got this strong demand zone going on right here. So keep an eye on that. If we do catch a retracement bounce right here on the weekly and daily, you're looking at moves back up into the similar range like what we saw previously. So back up into the 3,500 range, more than likely. We'll see if buyer volume sustains. Yeah, I mean, if we push out here, I'd be looking for that move to around 3K. So we'll see if we catch a reversal. That's $1,000 move on Ethereum. See what happens. Switch off of crypto for a second. Go over here to Rivian. So Rivian, I didn't pay attention to it earlier today, Harrison. I should have bought more swing calls on it yesterday when I mentioned it. So Rivian's doing exactly what we were talking about on the stream earlier this week. It is forming consistent higher lows and trending upwards. So you can see we're still in this uptrend, right? Let me switch to weekly so it's cleaner. But look, we're still in the uptrend. So especially if we hold this bounce and push back above this, was that the 1465 support level? That's great. This could be, you know what? I need to put this on watch to add fresh calls to. Hold on. That's already there. Cool. Someone remind me in case I forget or something, but we might back test this range and push out. That gap is filled. Yeah, Rivian's looking good right now. I kind of dig Rivian. They do have earnings next week, so we'll see whether or not that serves as a catalyst to push higher or to reject. But yeah, I'm gonna keep watching the technicals on it. SoFi. So SoFi, hey. All right, I told y'all when we looked at this earlier this week, selfishly I wanted it to fill that gap. I got sidetracked yesterday and didn't see it fill that gap to add to it. So this is fantastic in my opinion. We'll see if we catch the reversal. That's already a strong reversal attempt print on those candles. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, you got basically a 3-point candle here where you've got a red candle and selling off. We bounced at that support and we closed right there at the resistance. But this next candle right here, and I try not to get nitty gritty on it, but I'll say it just for the sake of it. This daily candle, see the close actually is higher than that. So this is a potential reversal print that we have going on right there on SoFi. That's actually a really clean setup. I like that. So what do I look for in this instance? So I look for in this instance follow through confirmation. So I'd like to see daily candles push higher next week. I'd also like to see volume step up a bit. So show price action moving up and volume trending up with it. That's what I'm going to be looking for next week on SoFi. I do have some long positions on it already. Look. Yeah, I've got the SoFi calls that we entered this week in the SoFi shares. So I eased into those calls this week. I'm going to be adding to the September and March probably in the next week or two, but there's no point in rushing. What we try to do is we look at this from a patient standpoint, and if we get the confirmation of reversal, that is where we will add to the positions. Wolf is the next one in the queue. Wolf is one that I missed entry on more longs yesterday because I was sidetracked with other positions, but look at this. This is beautiful. I'm still in the existing runners on some June calls, it looks like. They're up 69% today. I need to probably trim those to cover cost basis next week. But yeah, that's a beautiful bull flag setup going on right there with Wolf. So what do I want to see? I want to see sustained buyer volume show up into next week, and ideally strong volume for a push through that $16 level that we've rejected at multiple times previously, that I'm going to make a solid yellow line. So yeah, Wolf's still looking good. I think I've got it on that list. Yeah, I do. Let's look at crowd, because that was another one that I put on there for long entry watch earlier this week. You can see it's catching the bounce here. I'm going to remove this bull flag for the time being, just because I don't feel like it's as valid at the moment. But crowd broke that previous support level and moved here. We're going to see if it bounces or not, or if it consolidates and moves lower. So crowd's just going to be on the watch list. I don't like it nearly as much as I do the other two that are on here. And these aren't the only two I'm watching, by the way. These are just ones that I added to the list while we were looking at the stream live, so that I could actually reference back to them. Hey, Flex got his payout. I told him Top Step tends to do the payouts at 4 p.m. Central Time whenever they go through. So as soon as you hit that compliance and finance processing stage and sitting there waiting on funds sent, you can basically assume the payout's going to get processed the next business day around 4 p.m. I've had a couple come through at like 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., so they tend to do them in batches, but the last 5 payouts I think I've got have all consistently, or I shouldn't say 5, the last 5 batches, because there were a couple that took multiple at one time, but they've all been around 4 p.m. Central Time whenever they were sent to my Wise. So let's see, next ticker on the list. I'm gonna switch over to this. Look at this crap. Everybody freaked out the last few days and all week talking about, oh, how much lower can we go? Look at these huge bounces on so many things today. Wow. Like, I mean, I know, oh, Reddit's way down. Good. Opportunity. So this is one I need to put on my list, because I historically forget to enter or get tied up when Reddit has a strong pullback. I'll put this on my list. I'm not going to dig deep into it right now, but definitely going to keep my eye on Reddit. Where there? RGTI. It's another one. So many. This is what I was talking about earlier when I dropped it in the chat. So many things that I wanted to see how the daily candles and the weekly candles ended up finalizing today, right? So potential reversal print here on the daily, weekly. I just love it. So like you've got, and like that's not even like a bullish bias standpoint, it's just the patience and holding myself and others accountable to the patience aspect of not feeling like you have to rush into every trade. There's always going to be another trade. So definitely need to put RGTI over here on the watch list for a new long entry. I don't have any other RGTI calls open currently, because all of them closed out last year. Riot, beautiful bounce on Riot there. I'll delete this so that it's not confusing. Riot coming strong off that support level there, especially if crypto comes off a rally. Riot can get some strong movement. We're in, wait a second, I'm not in Riot calls right now. When did that happen? I guess I closed them out, or I had a limit sell set, so I've only got my Riot shares over here on my other account, so definitely need to get back in on that. Let me see. You are about to see me jump in all kinds of crap next week, just going ahead and warning you. Beautiful setups. And why did I not trade puts on all of this stuff? The reason I didn't mainly is because there was conflicting movement going on and risk to reward of the premiums. So I wanted to play it safe, so I sat out from trading on a few of the trades. I did trade puts on a couple of things, but mostly scalps. Rivian looks even better from close up like that. What else we got? Roblox looks like death. It's attempting reversal. Let's go up here all the way to the top. AI is way down here, but Strohan is trying to bounce. AI might be time to enter some new swings on that because I'm all out of that. So I don't know why I keep clicking the same button. This, I'm gonna make two lists. I'm gonna make a separate one that is potential entries. Oh crap, what am I doing? My bad, here. And sorry if you are trying to follow along, and for those that are watching the recording later, there will be value add material in here. Just hang with me. Setting us up for success next week. So add C3 AI to this. Why is it not pulling up? What's happening? There we go. Okay. Applied, another one that I'm still in my freaking shares on Applied Digital, and I'm kicking myself for not buying more calls on this last week because this thing has been so good to me since the beginning of last year, right? And we are in a strong bullish continuation setup here yet again. So Applied is another one that needs to go on that list to potentially add long entries to. ASST, strong bounce after the gap fill. We'll see if it holds that bounce or not. I have not re-entered on that. ASTS playing out that head and shoulders beautifully. So that's another one I need to go add new entries on because a lot of us secured all of our gains on these trades. And yeah, I'm flocking back to a lot of the same trades, but a lot of these same tickers are fantastic for trading options on. Premiums are reasonably priced. Price action is great for buying and selling calls and puts. A lot of these are going to be really good to sell cash secured puts on as well, which it looks like a couple of ours from last week are going to end up playing out very, very well in the coming weeks. So, yeah, ASTS is another one that's looking really good right here for a reversal. Bullish continuation. Alibaba, I kind of dig Alibaba too. If that reversal print occurs, because there is a gap fill here. Not too shabby. Someone remind me to look at that. BlackBerry is just, oh, it's at support level too. So, yeah, I'm not going to add new positions to BlackBerry. I think we're in some calls and shares, but they're on the other account, so I'll have to go look and see which ones we're still in. BBAI. Looking like a reversal print is attempting here as well. I'd like to see better volume than that though. So, wow, Bros, beautiful. I'm going to watch Bros for a potential entry after earnings next week. Yep. Apparently I forgot what I was doing. See you, Celsius. I wonder if Deej is still in all his Celsius stuff. That's a beautiful reversal. So many reversals all over the place. And this is what I was talking about too, with even like stuff like on Clean Spark. Yes, the head and shoulders is here, but this is why you look for confirmation. I'll look at Beyond for you, Cody. Because when I'm looking at a larger time frame setup like this one, and there was a really good example of this too over on, I think it was video. Yeah, so check this out. This is why, and I know that there was a little bit of drama this week in the server related to Palantir and entry puts during the middle of a pattern, and why I didn't, even though we made gains on the calls, was because the proper entry for a head and shoulders pattern like this is on the neckline breakdown with support break with supporting volume for that breakdown. what you can see here is NVIDIA did not break down, right? So what NVIDIA has done so far is it back tested that support range, and in fact it actually formed a higher low here. So strong reaction right there. Man, I wish I would have sold a CSP on this. Actually, now that I'm seeing that, premiums would have been great, but there's the potential here. Yes, the Head and Shoulders is potentially still in play, but also there's the potential here for that to be invalidated with a new all-time high. So just keep that in mind. The proper entry on this, like I was telling you on stream earlier this week, would be a break not just below the line itself with follow through on a daily candle, but ideally you want to see a break. And again, I'm saying all this from a more conservative standpoint because it will significantly increase your rate of success with your trades. I know people will enter like shorts on something like this during a potential pattern, and then they'll get like one good solid gain, and then they'll do it again and again and again, and what ends up happening is people end up getting burned because sooner or later you're going to get a series of those trades where the patterns do not have higher conviction confirmation. Same thing goes for bullish setups where people are slamming trades where you don't have confirmation of the breakout yet. Just be cautious. There's nothing wrong with being patient, and it's not a bad habit to kind of wait out entry on certain charts. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense to go short on certain things from a risk to reward standpoint, at least for things I'm trading. Same thing with long. You'll notice I don't always trade calls on everything that I'm long on. Sometimes I'll sell a CSP instead, even though I'm bullish on the stock, because it might be more favorable to do that rather than exposing myself to the Greeks. Instead, I'm putting the Greek exposure on someone else. So watching this, because if we do a strong reversal here on NVIDIA, we get bullish catalyst news next week. This thing could rip. Tesla. So, case in point, guys. This was the Head and Shoulders. This was the measured move. Look where we bounced on the daily. Exactly at the support level where that measured move was set. So, potential reversal here, just because we played out the measured move does not mean, oh, guaranteed reversal, right? So look at each of the trade setups in isolation. If we print a reversal here, that could be bullish for Tesla. You know I'm not a big fan of swinging calls and puts on Tesla. Wow. I just happened to look over Amaze and saw that she requested Tesla. That was completely and totally a coincidence. My bad. So I'm not a big fan of actually buying and swinging calls on Tesla. I haven't looked at the premiums lately because I've been waiting to sell CSPs on it. I'm sorry, to sell covered calls on it. And look how the premiums are looking. It all goes back to what I was saying about risk to reward, because oftentimes call premiums are very much against the buyer on Tesla. Yeah, I don't like that. Let me look. Yeah, no. See, I can't justify, like on this one, like if I was to see a reversal, push above that 414.50 level, which is a very critical level for those that have been trading Tesla for a long period of time. I don't like the idea of risking $2,000 plus on a contract with the potential to only make like 100% gain. Like, no thank you. I will happily trade other things all day long, or I will sell covered calls into resistance on Tesla and make gains on the other side of it. But it really has to make sense for me to justify even shorter term trades on Tesla, just because, like I said, the premiums are so stacked against retail. Typically very profitable to sell premiums on, but not so great for swinging. I'm not saying you can't have success in it. I've seen tons of people make great gains on it. I have in the past too. I'm very particular about the things that I will trade now from a risk to reward standpoint. So I don't have Vion charted yet, so let's use this one as a learning opportunity to chart together. And I immediately see a very large inverse Head and Shoulders on the monthly. So I usually start at the weekly and start drawing my lines, right? I'm going to do it on the monthly on this one because I want to show you this. And the more you do this, the more stuff like that starts to stand out. The more you actually watch consistent stuff like this, the more it will stand out. So You can see I'm marking these levels that were historically respected multiple times, right? So you can see right here, that was supported for it. Over here, this resistance. Sorry, trying to zoom in so you can really see it. This resistance right here, this level, became support right here, right? So that's why we're marking that. Same thing, we want to go a little bit higher. We want to see what's going on up here. I'm going to be more conservative with this. I'm going to mark it right there because, yeah, it was a pivot point, but also you can see it was respected right here and right here. Same thing there. There. And we're going to drill down to the weekly. I'm just going to jump past the weekly straight to the daily at this point. So I'm going to put a minor resistance right here because we reversed right there, but then also rejected that level there previously. I bet if we go look over here, which level is that? Make sure I'm not losing my mind. Okay, cool. So I bet if we go over here, you're going to see that same range right in there. See how that was respected there, there, all right there. Now if I go back over here, looky. Crazy how historical levels of support and resistance work, right? So that alone can be extremely accurate, but marking those levels so that we have those, let's go ahead and mark this right here. See how this resistance area right here that was respected right there became support. So this is why it's important to treat support and resistance basically end up taking turns replacing one another. So I've got plenty of stuff marked right there on the daily. But what I loved was this on the monthly, and I don't know crap about this stock, so this is like purely going based off technicals. What are they even? Communications. Okay. So what do I see here? So what I see here is a big gnarly inverse head and shoulders potentially, because this is a trend. This is an uptrend. So let's mark that just so that you can kind of see it. Okay, y'all see the uptrend? But also, let me show you the inverse head and shoulders in case it's not like glaringly obvious to everyone. I don't love how that draws, but it's still valid. And if it's inverse, I make it green because it is potentially going to go up. And why did I put the shoulder here? Because, like, really, this is a valid inverse head and shoulders regardless. So, I mean, technically, I could have drawn it right here. And, you know, it's actually clear. Let's just leave it there for the time being. And do this. That way, you don't have to look at more stuff. But that is a valid inverse head and shoulders pattern that we have in play. Now, normally if there's this kind of new low in the neckline, you could shift it up like this, which I'm going to do that right here just for the sake of it. Because what we want to see is, like I was saying earlier, it's about the breakout of the pattern. It's not the pattern itself. So the proper entry on this ticker would be a strong breakout with strong volume and supporting patterns on like the daily and 1 hour and 4 hour. But you want to look for the breakout right here that supports the move. So one thing I do need to do real quick and show you. So the measurement, right? Remember, measurement for a head and shoulders pattern is top of the head to the closest neckline, which you can see this one is closer, right? Make it green since it's a breakout move to the upside, and then we'll adjust it accordingly here in a second. But I hate how that flip-flopped. It's alright, we can make this work. Because I'm gonna shrink it anyways here in a second. You'll see why. So I always move and adjust my measurement to be even more conservative than the true measurement. Reason I do that is because you will notice a much higher success rate by taking your exits at more conservative levels drawn like that, especially when you're mapping to a key resistance level for a breakout to the upside or key support level for something to the downside. What a lot of newer traders do, and a lot of traders that end up frustrated even if they're not new, is they try to reach for like the biggest possible measured move on every single pattern that they can. So in this instance, that means that, like, you know, potentially leaving my measured move way up there, which I could have done because technically it just somehow happens to align with where it opened and started. But I'm not going to do that. So, let's see. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted to do. It's fine. I'm going to shrink it down. Same thing with patterns on stocks, crypto, futures, doesn't matter. That approach right there leads to success so much. I mean, look at NQ today, where people are freaking out. And I was watching this bull flag that I mapped the measured move more conservatively. It did that exact measured move and rejected right there at that same exact level. So why are these red here? That is because I'm unbiased in the way I trade. So when we were in this consolidation range here, everything was bullish, breakout, momentum, bullish, 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 right? But just in case, I wanted to know what the measured moves were if this bull flag was invalidated and we broke to the downside. That way, if I saw the invalidation, I knew where to watch to see if I needed to trade short. I trade long and made gains. I locked my gains like way down here because I was, well, where I needed to be for the day. So I was okay with that, but you can see, played out beautifully. So yeah, deleting these now just so they're not in the way, but jumping and showing that way you can see that the way we go about measuring stuff is the same whether we're using futures, crypto, whatever. If you're kind of using the approach that's simplified that I try to use, you notice there's no indicators on this chart except for volume. So I use patterns, key historical levels, support and resistance, and it works. So now that we are kind of ignoring the larger, very large time frame, inverse head and shoulders, I'm going to show you that there's another inverse head and shoulders right here too on the smaller time frame, which is what I would be watching for your breakout. And Cody, this is the one you'll probably want to keep an eye on. So right here, I might keep an eye on this and see if I want to trade it next week too. That potential here, I'm just going to delete the larger one. Y'all saw what it was, but I don't want to cause confusion by it being on the chart. So we'll come back and draw it later if need be, but that's there. See how we're kind of in no man's land right here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over here. And I'm going to see what are some key resistance levels I got going on in that range. So we have something to map our measured move to that actually has historical significance. So you can see, like right here, that was definitely a key resistance level and support level over time, right? So I bet if we look over here, bam, it's almost like this was a pre-recorded session or something. I've never looked at this stock in my life. So, I might have to drop here in a second. I gotta go jump on a escalation thing for work, but yeah, we'll wrap up on that note. So if there's any other tickers y'all want me to dive through here in a little bit, let me know. Or this weekend I can cover some too. But in the meantime, hit the like and subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful. If there's other topics that aren't tickers specifically that you want to talk about or want to hear about, tell me. And let's talk about them on the live stream. So on that note, wrapping up. If you need anything else, holler at me. Everyone have a great weekend and evening.